Everyone, well, welcome back again, and hopefully we're going to present another titillating video for you. But before I begin the video, which is going to be the topic allowing, which is a spin-off of the previous video I did on are you experiencing unconditional love for your twin flame? Really? Kind of scenario. And a lot of people have got a hold of me and asked me if I could give my kind of ideas and concepts on allowing. But before I do that, I want to make mention here again that when I'm presenting information up here, I'm presenting it based on my own experience, and more specifically, in doing the twin flame community and being exposed to it for 20 some odd years, and having counseled, oh my goodness, probably thousands of people going through spiritual awakening, Kundalini awakening, and the twin flame experience, I safely can say that I have a lot of experience in the general theme of what's going on in the community. So I'm not in the habit of presenting in any way, shape, or form my own belief systems to have other people absorb. I'm simply sharing my experience along the way. It is not intended to install belief systems or anyone else, or to present myself as a guru or a teacher. Well, I guess you could call me that. Yeah, that would be applicable, I guess. But I do this understanding that every situation between two people is unique, and it's not a one-size-fits-all. So the concepts or the ideas or the information that I present are for the general collective, as it is. And it's not reflecting on any one individual or their particular belief systems they may have now. And I notice I get a few comments every time from people who I can tell right away where they're coming from. They have their own particular belief system, and they're adamantly defending it to the letter end. And one of the more popular ones lately, just to kind of go off topic here for a minute, seems to be this problem that some people seem to have digesting the idea that you can actually have more than one twin flame connection. I can remember when that was my belief system also, but experience and presentation of individuals going through multiple twin flame experiences have proven to me beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can, you do, and you will, in most cases, have that experience at some particular point in time. All right. Now, what I wanted to do today was I wanted to get into this video of, in the last one, I gave the information of no expectation, no agenda, and the idea of surrender was a completely ridiculous concept for anyone to try to do in these types of connection, that allowing the situation to take place was the best way to approach it. So I've had quite a few people ask me, well, that's all wonderful what you say, Mel, and I get it, but how do you just turn it over? How do you just allow something to come into being? I want to touch here on something that I think is really important, that everybody seems to forget about. I don't know. Some of you are very bright people, and you really got your shit together. At least you think you do, anyway. And I have moments when I think I got my shit together too, and then I find out I'm not quite as smart as I thought I would. And what happens is this, and I'm going to go back to this because I think a lot of people have forgotten this, is how do you allow? If you will go back to the time you first connected with the one in the soul-to-soul connection, the twin flame, the twin ray, all of the other labels you want to put to it, whatever, it doesn't matter. And think about what I call or coined the bubble love phase. And think about how you were in synchronicity, how you were communicating, how you were literally joined at the hip. Everything seemed to ebb and flow between you in a perfect match of ebb and flow between the two of you. And what were you doing at that point? You were just doing something very important. You were allowing it. And it was happening because you allowed it to happen. You didn't get in there with your belief systems. You didn't get in there with your ideologies or culture or racial background or sexual orientation or anything at all. There was no belief systems instilled in it at all. You, for once in your life, were allowing a very special event to take place. And some would say, well, Mel, at some point later, I wasn't allowing anymore. And we got into the situation of the he said, she said, or issues and problems started coming up. And the reason those things started coming up was because there were a lot of belief systems in the way at a dimensional, three-dimensional conscious state of mind and being, if you will, that were in the way. So you have to start evolving yourself through them so you can be in a position to allow again. Look, let me put it this way. In spite of what we all may think, we're all control freaks or narcissists, if you want to put that term to it. We're all control freaks in some degree or level. We like the status quo to be in our circumference of control, be that circle or that range of control be very big, numbering a lot of people in that control radius, or in some cases just yourself, but you want to be in control. We're all control freaks. There's no such thing on this planet as somebody who's living in three-dimensional consciousness who's not attempting, trying, or being a control freak for themselves. So the word allow doesn't fit very well, because when you say allow, all of the belief systems come in play, and this is the favorite phrase that will come up. And people will say, okay, I get what you're saying, Mel, I don't need to surrender. That's the most ridiculous thing. I should have never thought of doing that. But now I need to allow. And then the question comes up, but Mel, or whatever name you want to use, but, and there you go. What's happening at that point? You have taken your point down to a three-dimensional level of consciousness where the control factor of your identity, your ego, or your persona as it's been created has come into play. Now, let me give you another incident where you allow. This is one that everybody misses all the time. Sometimes a lot of you don't see what I see when it's happening. Do you remember? Remember that song? Do you remember? Some of you will. All right. Anyways, as I was saying, do you remember when you came together, or prior to when you came together? All right. All of those little things were happening called coincidences and synchronicities and 11 and 12 and 10 and 9 and all that crap, which everybody's saying, oh, the synchronicities are going on. Oh, the synchronicities are going on. Oh, I don't know how to explain it, but the synchronicities are there and the coincidences are there. Oh, this happened and that happened and this happened. What was happening? You were allowing. You were open. So these things beyond your knowledge of understanding, which we call synchronicities and coincidences and all that kind of stuff. There's no such thing as synchronicities and coincidences and 11-11 and 12-12 and all the rest of that stuff. If you understand the mechanics of energy and the mechanics of consciousness and the mechanics of how it functions, it's all perfectly explainable. You were allowing. Now, which part of it is it in you that allows? There's got to be some part of you that allows. Where's the allowing part? Where's the allowing part of my body? My armpit? No. Well, it's not there either. It's not down there. Okay. So where can it be? You know, this really gets frustrating when you're trying to think of, where is my allow? Oh, I know where it is. Right up here. Slightly above my head, about a foot or, you know, something like that above my head. That's where my allow is. Son of a bitch. And I thought it was a chakra. It's not. It's my allow button. Gee whiz. So suddenly we now have something that's tangible. But because the allow button is above and out of your energy field, per se, for most people, to you it seems like something vague and distant. So when I can share with you some experience of what allow means, all right, and how it's happened in your life, and in many cases, sometimes you've also seen this happen. Another example, if you will. Remember, the allow button is right up here, just above your head. Some of you like to call it oversoul. Some of you like to call it higher self. Some of you like to call it cosmic consciousness, super consciousness, Christ consciousness. The label don't matter, dick. What matters is you find out it's there and you learn how to use the damn thing. You know, we're in this physical body and we have smell, taste, touch, feel. That's what we experience in the physical body. What if I told you there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 more senses? Is it 9? Okay. Give or take 1 or 2 that we can experience. But how are we going to get to do that? By allowing. So as you're going through the evolutionary process, the spiritual awakening, what is it you have to do? Some of you have seen where all of a sudden your experiences that you're having, your life is changing, everything goes to pot, your job falls apart, your relationship falls apart, and you're, what the hell is going on? And finally you just said, well, I don't know, there's all these changes going on, I just might as well allow it to happen and probably it'll go a lot better. Bingo! The light goes on. All right? Here's the problem in the spiritual community. Once people become spiritually educated a bit, all right, what happens is when they read a pile of books or they join a group or they incorporate a lot of information, they actually think they know something. And that's when they become stupid. There's nothing worse than a spiritual person who actually thinks they know something, but is in actual fact stupid because they know nothing. I'll tell you something. As much as I've been going through the evolutionary spiritual awakening since I was 37 and I'm now 75, I know absolutely nothing. All I have is a bunch of experiences that I've had and learned along the way and get to share them with you. Whether you believe them or not is entirely up to you. But one of the things that I've learned, specifically now to narrow it down to focus, is about relationships. Now, I'm giving you examples of allowing. Another example is, at this particular point, there's another example of allowing. You have seen over the years, as your heart center awakened, first of all, you had no control over it. It did what it wanted. It created whatever it needed to do in your life. And it was a complete chaos and a mess for a period of time. And the heart center would activate when you at least wanted to. You fell in love with people you didn't like or even liked the way they looked. And you were falling in love and in and out of love like a pair of socks every day. And you're saying like fought to walk is going on. You like that expression, fought to walk? All right, you can change the words around and you figure out what it means. Fought to walk is going on in my life. And then suddenly what happens is you get to the point where suddenly things change. And you see your mind or your state of consciousness beginning to harmonize, and you see things coming toward you, and as if they're falling into magic, falling into place by magic. And you look at it and you say, what the walk is going on? It was a real struggle before, but now it seems like events and circumstances just seem to fall into place and money comes when I need it. What are you doing? You're allowing. See, the allow button is now activated in conjunction with the heart center chakra. And you are now getting to participate and you're being allowed access to your allow button, and things are floating towards you because you're allowing. You're no longer a control freak. We have an innumerable amount of people in the spiritual community who are control freaks. You can see them, especially on Facebook. And I'll give you an example of control freaks. You can see them in Facebook, in the twin flame community. And they have a leader who has all of their belief systems instilled and they think they're knowledgeable. And they confine their prisoners into a certain segregated bunch of belief systems. And they don't allow anything else to impinge, penetrate, that goes beyond. They're controlling. So what happens is you have a whole pile of people who become very, very anal retentive. There's nothing worse in the spiritual community than anal retentive spiritual people, especially twin flames or soulmates. You need to check and see if you're anal retentive. Now, how can you tell if you're anal retentive? If you're constipated a lot, one reason you're anal retentive. If you have bad breath, you are anal retentive. If you're constantly finding yourself shooting your mouth off, you're anal retentive. If you're constantly protecting your belief systems that are outdated, outmoded, you're anal retentive. Anal retentive is plague conditions in the spiritual community right now. It actually is. Yeah, I do have a way of presenting it and saying it, don't I? You either love me or you hate me. That's what I like about it. It's so much fun. I know you all love me, even if you hate me at the moment. All right? I know that, you see. I know a lot of people that come in and make comments on my videos, and I know they hate me at the time they make it, but they actually do love me. Okay? Because I rub them the wrong way and I get their mojo all going. And their feathers ruffled, and they got to step out of the nest and say, oh, that damn Mel again, he's doing again, stirring up shit. That's my job. It's on my resume. I have to follow protocol. So, allowing. Now let's get it down to relationships, all right? The idea here in the relationship, all right, is once you've done this with the heart center and you start to see this and you're allowing, what's happening is you're in touch, okay? You're moving with the ebb and flow of your consciousness. You're allowing. All right? Now, when it comes to relationship, this is a horse of a different color and two camels going sideways in two different directions. One with two humps and one with one hump. One hump and two hump camels don't mingle well. So we have to have two hump camels and one hump camels all going in the same direction with each one hump or two hump. So you need to ask yourself, are you a one hump camel or a two hump? So, and somebody said, what is he talking about? I'm going to explain that. The problem with allowing in relationships is because of the indoctrination, the input and belief systems about love, relationship, and sexuality that have been programmed into our emotional bodies. Now listen closely to this part. Programmed into our emotional bodies that set up a program of reactions in our three-dimensional consciousness that has limited relationships and produced relationships that are now in our reality. Look at it this way, and I think pretty much everyone will agree with me more or less. I am not saying there are not people that don't have wonderful, beautiful relationships on this planet. What I am saying is that relationships on our planet now have reached a point where I think it's about 55% of relationships break up in the first 2 years that they're there. Another 25% stay in relationships out of the expressed want or need for children, and the rest stay there because it's coincidence that they're there, or convenience, but coincidence, what am I talking about? It's for convenience or other reasons. So what we have now is a society that's now where dysfunctional families, dysfunctional children are considered the norm. This is not healthy. This is not healthy. So what happens is when we come up with this dynamic situation of relationships, and you see people at their level of consciousness. Look, folks, as much as we like to believe that we're all equal, all right, and I get when people are saying that, everybody wants to feel like no one's special and we're all the same. We're not. There's no such thing as we're all equal. Every one of us is at a different level, a different layer, or a different part of our consciousness and the stream of consciousness that is expressing from us. And those states of consciousness are created and expressed through belief systems that we've incorporated, with the biggest majority coming through the emotional body pertaining to love, relationship, and sexuality. And all of those are going to change, and they're being changed right now through this heart center development that's taking place. So that what happens is in these twin flame connections, this is where it really turns to chaos. Because I see all the time when people are having difficulty in their twin flame connections or their twin flame, they like to call them relationships. There's no such thing as a twin flame relationship yet, per se. Twin flame relationships have not come to the point where they are the majority at this point. They are the minority, and a very small minority that are successful to any degree. The twin flame union, which is experienced in that bubble love phase for a short period of time, is the destiny. And here's another point that I want to make in this video. Whenever I hear someone say, I'm in a twin flame relationship, you cannot have a twin flame relationship unless you have instilled in it all of the belief systems that you previously had about relationships, and you're trying to incorporate that as a relationship called twin flame relationship. It won't work. The twin flame template, the energetic connection, begins at the top, the allow button up here, and filters down through the soul body, the mental, the emotional, the etheric, the physical. It doesn't start from the emotional body and all our belief systems about love, relationship, and sexuality as we grew up and were programmed with them. Bang! So the conflict begins. It can't go any other way but that. And then we get into all of the wailing and the whining and the gnashing of teeth and trying to delve in to all of this. And then I hear people, as I mentioned in my previous video, oh, I've surrendered to it. And then they realize that surrender is a completely wrong approach to do it. You surrender because that's what you've been programmed and taught to do. It's like, said, well, you need to forgive somebody that did something to you. That's because forgiveness has been taught to you. That's a church thing. That's a church thing. It's a belief system. That's all it is. You don't have to forgive anybody. You just let it go. It doesn't matter. And right away you get rid of being a victim. The world today is full of victims. I like to use the word recipient. I've been the recipient of abuse. And I have been, lots of it when I was a kid. All kinds of it. The recipient. I'm not a victim. It's about where your stream of consciousness is expressing that dictates how much access you're going to have to the allow. So when it comes to the relationship aspect, the one thing that you have to do is to understand that unconditional love cannot be experienced by anyone until they allow it. Because I'm going to make a statement here that's really going to piss a lot of people off. Really. Because until you get to the point where you can allow love to come from you, at the highest level, you are incapable of saying, I love my twin flame unconditionally, because it's not true. There is no one on this planet until they reach the state that I'm talking about who can manifest unconditional love. I don't care how many times you say it. I don't care how many times you defend it. Unconditional love is a state of being, not of mind. And anyone who's manifesting and allowing unconditional doesn't have to talk about it. They don't have to say it, because their sheer presence will dictate it. And those who know and consent and have enough developed intuition and other psychic abilities, clairvoyance, clairaudience, can actually see someone who is emanating unconditional love. I do. For those of you who see, you'll see it. It comes from me all the time. I don't need to talk about it, because love is not the right word. There is no such word that expresses right now in human vocabulary that expresses the right definition of allow. Love is not it. It's not. It's a much higher. There's no defined word right now that can express totally in three-dimensional consciousness what unconditional love totally is. It is a radiation. It is an emanation. It is a presence. It is a feeling. It is, you just want to be around that person, or that person is going to make you very uncomfortable. Because someone who is emanating, allowing unconditional love has a whole different state of consciousness. And you will find in many cases there will be a lot of people who will be in conflict with them. So to say, for anyone to say, well, I'm presenting unconditional love to my twin flame and everyone around me, you have no idea what you're talking about. Until you get to the point where you don't need to talk about it and don't need to say it to anyone, or verbally, or publicly, you have no idea what you're talking about. Unconditional love, as we know it on this planet, doesn't exist. It is a state of being, not a state of mind. A state of mind is required to be able to put it into words. And we don't have the state of mind that is connected to the state of being as of yet, in most cases, because it's a radiation, it's an emanation, it's a presentation, it's a field of consciousness that has no word here. And when a person has allowed it, what will happen is they will experience a connection, an emanation, a vibration to everything and everyone. There will be no exception. To say to you now, I am totally in love with one person, my twin flame, would be a lie. That's not true anymore. Because you love much more than that, to use the word that everybody's comfortable with. It's a radiation, it's a field. love as we know it in our world cannot be segregated to just one person. It can't be. It's too big. It's too beyond. The problem with the human species is we try to narrow it down so that we can focus it into something linear and put it into a fence post, a tree, a buffalo, a bird, a person, more likely a person. And then we want to attach all sorts of belief systems, behavior modules, expectations, and agendas to this that have been programmed into us. And this is the problem with relationship. And this is what I'm saying is this is all going to change. I said about 5 years ago in a video that our concept of love, relationship, and sexuality is going to change whether we like it or not. And that's happening. And there's a lot of people who don't like it. And there's a lot of people who have reached a certain point in their spiritual growth and evolution and their understanding of love, relationship, and sexuality have reached a point where they get into what I call the comfort zone. They don't want to move from there. All right? And they say, well, I'm going to stay there for the rest of this lifetime. No, you're not. We need to understand something. Spirituality is a process of evolution. And if any one of you out there think that you're going to sit there for the next 10 years, the next 20 years, in a little packet of belief systems in your comfort zone, you're going to stay there because that's your choice, that's bullshit. Evolution waits for no one, and it waits for nobody and their silly belief systems, especially in the spiritual community. This may sound like I'm being really harsh here, but some of you, a lot of you, are going to learn this the hard way. Because we're all control freaks, like I mentioned. We want to get it into our little comfort zone. We want to segregate into that, and we want to be in love. We want to be in love either with ourselves or another person, and we want to stay in that in-love little packet that we feel comfortable with. Evolution is a perpetual growth stream. This bullshit that someone can come in and they're going to sit here and they're going to coast and they're going to be here for the rest of their life and blah, 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 and all of it is going to be wonderful and beautiful, and you have a choice, you don't have a choice. Evolution doesn't give you a choice. And I'm going to give you an example of that. A good number of you, thousands of you, who will watch this video, have experienced also the Kundalini awakening. Right? Where you felt the fire go up your spine, in your head, through your body, and energies flowing all through your body which you had no control of and you had no idea what's going on. You're sitting there, what the fuck is happening to me? So much for being a control freak. And you had no choice. You had no choice but to allow it, didn't you? You had no choice. So choice is an illusion in this reality. You are the recipient of your allow up here. And the sooner you begin to understand that this is the real you in the allow button, and this down here called the physical body is simply a minor projection of the total you up here. And once you begin to understand that, then you have the twin flame connection come along, and you come up against all of your belief systems, and I want this from him, and he's a son of a bitch that, and she's a bitch there, and she's not doing this, and he's not doing that, and he's not filling my expectation or my needs. Oh, I love that expression. You ever heard that? You ever said that one? She's not fulfilling my needs. He's not fulfilling my needs. Who the hell do you think you are? No one needs to fulfill your needs. Do it for yourself. Fulfill your own needs. Who the hell do some of you think you are? He's not fulfilling my needs. She's not fulfilling my needs. You cheeky buggers. He's not filling my needs. She's not filling my needs. He's not screwing me the right way. She's not screwing me the right way. Well, screw yourself. If someone's not doing it for you, do it yourself. You know, there's a very popular expression on this planet, I think a lot of people have heard. I believe it's called go fuck yourself. Oh, there's Melly said that dirty word again. And, oh, gee whiz, we're all going to have to make derogatory comments about vulgar language and, oh, we're all going to flutter and get in a big fluff. Yeah, go fuck yourself. Have you heard that expression? Have you said it yourself? I mean, really. I'll bet you there's some of the most holy of spiritual people that may listen to this video at some point in time probably said that. Right? So there you go. So the aspect, that should get a few feathers going. The aspect of allowing in these connections is something that you've already experienced many times. As I said with the Kundalini awakening, you had no choice but to allow. So if anyone thinks that you have free will and choice here in your wonderful soul sojourn through this lifetime, trust me, you're here for a reason, and you're here to change and evolve in a very limited expression of what you really are up here. And the only person that you're fighting is not your twin flame or your soulmate, it's yourself. It's very simple. Allowing is a state of being, not a state of mind. So it applies also to unconditional love. Unconditional love is a state of being, not a state of mind. So when you allow the circumstances in your twin flame connection to unfold in the way they're supposed to, without emotional programming interference based on belief system, you will see very quickly if it's going to come into fruition or it's not. This is why I say, can you have more than one twin flame? Absolutely, you can. The twin flame experience is now solidly implanted in the collective consciousness of humanity. It's available to everyone. The originals that came in, the limited number, have made that possible. So if you can have it once, you can have it again, and again, and again. Am I trying to create a belief system that's based on my belief system? No. I'm just giving you fact. And many of you who listened to my video before, can you have more than one twin flame? What the word or whatever did I use? You got your noses all out of joint and your panties in a knot, and I got literally swamped with a whole pile of negative comments. And you know what? I've had a whole pile of those people come back and say to me, you know what, Mel, you're right. You know what? It wasn't a case of being right. I don't care about being right. All I care about is you. All I care about is giving you information and giving it to you so that you can do something with it. Whether you don't like me or not at the moment that I give it is irrelevant. I don't care whether you like me. All I care is that you have the information that's in your consciousness that will help you and assist you down the road. Your opinion of me is irrelevant. Because I know the way that I present, and I know that a lot of people out there sense and feel I'm authentic. That I do this because, to use that word, I love people. Unlike others who are up on YouTube, I'm not running an MLM, and I'm not trying to get you into my church, and I'm not trying to go into somebody's twin flame group and recruit their members for my MLM. I don't do those kind of things. That's not who I am. I'm authentic. So when I say to you, allow, I'm going to ask you to do something else. When you come to our channel and you listen to me speak, I'm going to ask you to do something down the road, and perhaps maybe do it again with this video if I should have done it in the beginning. Is I'm going to ask you to allow yourself to listen to what I have to say without putting up your defense mechanisms. Just allow. And allow to have the freedom for once to listen to something that may be of value to change your stream of consciousness in regards to the situation of relationships. And got carried away. This is a long one, 40 minutes. I didn't plan on going that long. Oh well. A good number of you will leave before it goes halfway through anyway, so that's all right. I'm used to that kind of stuff. I'll stop there, and I think you get the drift of what I'm saying with allow at this point, okay? Oh, and by the way, unlike another set of twin flames, I apologize for doing this on Sunday. I didn't want to present this as being a church service, or I'm giving a sermon, okay, like some others like to do. I'm just Mel. I just give information. I don't need to pretend I'm doing a sermon in a church, as one of those very popular set of twin flames out there feel they need to do, and look totally ridiculous doing it. Have a nice day, everyone. It's been a pleasure, as usual. Take care.